The last time we talked about Evander Kane of the San Jose Sharks, we knew he was under investigation for a variety of things. Well, one of those items has now come to light, and it could be the end of his career if it proves to be true. We'll discuss that coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, we have some more breaking news and updates on the Evander Kane situation. We knew the last time we talked about this player that he was being investigated by the NHL for two separate things. One was a pretty serious allegation that he was facing off the ice, which was basically a case of domestic assault and other charges from his soon-to-be ex-wife. That was being investigated by the NHL, and also they were investigating some kind of breaking of the rules when it comes to their COVID protocols, but we really didn't know exactly what it was. Well, now AJ Perez of Front Office Sports has revealed that it has to do with Evander Kane possibly using a fake vaccine record to give to the NHL. Of course, we know players were being vaccinated at a pretty high rate across the league, and we've seen this year that the rules have been different, whether or not they're vaccinated or not vaccinated. And even last year, as players were getting vaccinated, records would have had to have been shared with their teams in the league to provide that sort of proof. And that's what he's actually being investigated for. That is a pretty serious allegation, which in my opinion, based on what we've seen in the past and what others are saying, could lead to his contract possibly being terminated or a very lengthy suspension at the very least. Now, of course, that's not even considering the other allegations that he's facing for the domestic assault stuff. I'm not sure where things are at when it comes to the NHL and their findings in that regard. To be honest, I would imagine that they would probably want to let that process play out legally to see where things go. But oftentimes in other sports, sometimes you do see players be suspended while they're going through that process. I'm not sure what they're going to do in that regard. All we know at this point is the Sharks and Kane agreed before training camp that it was best that he was not at camp. And at this point, we're waiting for further word from the NHL before we know anything further. Now, when it comes to the fake vaccination record, if this is true, like I said, to me, and I know and where I live in a lot of areas, it is considered an illegal offense. And obviously, the other thing I find hard about this to understand why it might be taking so long is I know where I live. I mean, obviously, I have a very good understanding of our public health system because I do have, immediate family that works there. But it's really not that difficult to verify a vaccine record. All they'd have to do would be to take the record that was given to go back to whatever health authority it was or pharmacist or whoever it was that administered the vaccine or supposedly did to compare with their records and ask and compare the records. It's just quite that simple. Like I know here we have an actual database. Everything's computerized, everything up to date. It's really not that hard for our public health team to verify if somebody was indeed immunized or not. So I don't really know what would be taking so long. But either way, the NHL would want to take their time, make sure they get it right here. Now, we have seen NHL players have their contracts terminated before. Not quite due to this kind of situation, obviously, but I'll take you back to like the Mike Richards situation when he was with LA. Of course, he was caught with drugs going through a border, different scenario, but still it wound up that they were able to terminate his contract. Now, could the San Jose Sharks end up doing the same thing? It might be a possibility if this actually turns out to be true. But I also listened to an interview today of Kevin Kurz, the beat writer for the Sharks on The Athletic, on SiriusXM Radio today, talking about this situation and other Sharks news. And essentially he said, the Sharks of the team, the players have made it known that they're pretty much fed up with him and everything that comes with him, off the ice. There was a lot of stuff that went on last year that they were very frustrated with him about, and it wasn't necessarily to do with the public bankruptcy or anything of that nature, but they were saying that, his practice habits, showing up late, just the overall effort. I think there was even some dress code issues, things like that. Just a lot of little things that were just rubbing his teammates the wrong way. I mean, at the same time, when he got on the ice and he played, he was their best player and their most productive player. So obviously didn't impact his play on the ice, but still, you want to be a good teammate, you want to do the right things, and it just looks like, based on what they were saying, that wasn't the case, and there was a lot of things kind of distracting the team and driving the team a little bit crazy. Now, of course, we can't say that's the case for every single player on the team, but there has been references from Kurz and other media members that have talked to different people behind the scenes that said there were several players that went to the Sharks GM privately during and at the end of the season to say that Kane needs to go, essentially, and that they don't want to be a part of that locker room and that team if he is going to be part of it moving forward. So clearly they haven't really done a lot in the way of changes. Kane is theoretically a part of the organization. So I really don't know what is going to come from this, but this is a very serious allegation on both counts here. Of course, like I said, the last time we talked about this, we didn't really know what in the way of COVID protocols that was being investigated or what was, the issue that was being discussed here in behind the scenes. Now we know. So if that indeed does prove to be true, like I said, I know like locally where I live, there obviously are, legalities around from passing that off a fake record. And at the same time, I wonder if the Sharks might be able to try to get out of terminating his contract and just, end it. Clearly, a lot of the legal stuff is not done yet. He has not been found guilty of any of this stuff. So we can't say like his career is over. What I'm saying is if this stuff proves to be true and he does get charged based on the accusations from his ex-wife, or they do verify that he did indeed pass off a fake vaccine record, either way, that could be the end of Evander Kane. If any of this is true, he could be facing a really long precedent-setting suspension, possibly a voided contract. And so if that's the case, I do wonder if he'll ever get another chance again. It's really a shame. A very talented player. Obviously, he's battled a lot of demons over the years. But all I can say is I hope for his sake that it's not true. He can prove to be not guilty. He can hopefully get on with his life, continue playing hockey, whether it be for the Sharks or somebody else. He's a talented guy. It's a shame to see that talent be wasted and have to, not play. But we have to go through this process here and see where things stand. Because if it's indeed true, it's pretty big news. So let me know what your thoughts are on Evander Kane. Do you think there's a possibility his career could be over if any of this is proven to be true and accurate? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments and we'll discuss further. If you're new to this channel, make sure you subscribe and stick around. We'll keep you up to date with all the latest news, rumors, and analysis on all 32 NHL teams. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.